Most men waste their power in the final hour. Not because they're lazy. Not because they're weak. But because no one told them the truth. The hour before sleep is the most powerful hour in the world. It's the gate to everything you want. Or everything you fear. Let me explain. All day long, you are reacting. To emails. To people. To stress. Your mind is constantly distracted, pulled in every direction. But when the world finally grows quiet, when the phone is silent and the lights are low, when your body begins to wind down, your conscious guard drops. That's when the real programming happens. That final hour, right before your eyes close, is when the subconscious becomes most open to command. And what you feed it in those moments doesn't just disappear into sleep. It becomes who you are. Now think, what are you feeding your mind before bed? Do you close your eyes with stress still sitting on your chest? Do you fall asleep with your regrets playing like a broken record? Do you drift off with fears, doubts, failures, and complaints circling in your thoughts? If you do, I don't blame you. Most people do. Because no one ever taught them how to end the day with command. They were taught to grind all day and collapse at night. Taught to hustle from sunrise to sunset and never speak directly to their mind. But I'm telling you now, the 1% don't do that. They treat the final hour as sacred. They speak to themselves as commanders, not victims. They don't replay problems. They imprint solutions. They don't fantasize. They program. Let's be clear, this isn't superstition. This is mental law. The subconscious mind is a servant. It never sleeps. It never argues. It only accepts repeated instruction. Especially when the conscious mind is too tired to interfere. And that's why most men stay stuck. They fall asleep with the same worries, same doubts, same stories, every single night. And their subconscious builds a life to match it. You want to know why your situation hasn't changed? It's not because of bad luck. It's not because the world is unfair. It's because you're still whispering fear to your mind when it's most ready to listen. But you can change that tonight. Because there is one habit, one sentence, that can rewire everything. And I will give it to you. But before I do, I need you to understand the gravity of what you're about to learn. You are not just a man trying to get ahead. You are a builder of identity. And your identity is shaped by repetition. Not what you say once. But what you say every single night, in the dark, when no one's watching. The world sees the surface. But you're about to rebuild the structure underneath. The structure that holds your actions. Your confidence. Your beliefs. Your success. And that begins with one thought. Not a wish. Not a hope. A command. A single sentence you will repeat each night, until your subconscious believes it more than anything else. Until it becomes memory. Until it becomes muscle. Until it becomes law. But not yet. First, I need you to see what happens when men don't control that hour. They drift. And when you drift before sleep, you drift in life. They go to bed thinking, I hope it gets better. I hate my job. I don't know what I'm doing. And then they wonder why they wake up tired, heavy, uninspired. It's because your last thought at night becomes your blueprint for the morning. This isn't motivational talk. This is mechanics. You don't rise with power if you sleep in fear. You don't walk like a king if your mind kneels to confusion at night. You cannot expect life to obey you if you whisper doubt into your subconscious and then expect it to build you into a leader. What you build before sleep becomes the world you rise into. And if that final thought is weak, so is your morning. So is your day. So is your life. But if it's strong, if it's definite, clear, bold, and repeated with belief, it becomes a foundation of steel. And the world begins to shift around you. Not because it's changing, but because you have. Every night is an opportunity to install a new program. And most men ignore it. But you won't. Not anymore. Because tonight, you will do what few ever do, you will take full responsibility for your final thought. You will craft it, shape it, speak it, and repeat it like your life depends on it. Because it does. This is not a game. This is how fortunes are made. This is how the 1% command their lives while the rest react. This is how your thoughts go from scattered to structured, from chaotic to clear. This is how the old version of you starts to die, and the real version begins to rise. In the next part, I'll give you the exact sentence that rewires your mind, transforms your identity, and sets your life on a new course. But tonight, your only task is this. Silence the noise. Turn off the world. And ask yourself one question. What do I want to become? Because your answer is about to become a command. And your command is about to become your reality. There's a reason the world looks different for those at the top. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not money. It's instruction. They give their mind precise instruction, especially at night, while the rest of the world falls asleep in confusion. And now you're going to do the same. Let's start with the law. The subconscious mind obeys repeated suggestion, especially before sleep. Why before sleep? Because that's when the conscious mind, the one that argues, doubts, distracts, goes quiet. That's when the gates open. That's when your final thought walks into your subconscious and becomes law. And most men waste it. They fall asleep with the TV on, with notifications buzzing, with the weight of the day crashing over them. But you're different now. You're about to use this hour with precision. Tonight, I'm giving you the tool that rewires your self-image. It's not a technique. It's not a hack. It's a sentence. One sentence, repeated with belief, has more power than 100 books unread, more force than 10 goals written but never spoken. Words build your world. And your nightly sentence becomes the blueprint. Now listen carefully. This is not a mantra. This is not a pep talk. This is a command. You are speaking directly to the deepest part of yourself. To the part that doesn't care about how your day went. It only cares what it hears consistently. It does not think. It obeys. And it creates from repetition. Here is the sentence. Every night I impress my definite aim into my subconscious, and it obeys. Say it again. Not like a wish. Not like you're trying it out. Say it like you're already the man who lives by this truth. Every night I impress my definite aim into my subconscious, and it obeys. This is your key. But it's only the start. Because this sentence must be followed by your definite aim. Not a vague idea. Not a soft hope. But a precise declaration of what you want and who you are becoming. And here's where most men fail. They skip this part. They say, I want to be rich. Too vague. They say, I want to be successful. Too weak. They say, I don't want to be broke anymore. That's not a goal, that's fear. Your aim must be so clear, so definite, so real, that your subconscious can see it, feel it, and move toward it. Let me show you what that looks like. Not, I hope I can make more money. But, heavy checkmark, I earn $10,000 per month through value I provide, and I begin now. Not, I want confidence. But, heavy checkmark, I speak with boldness, act with clarity, and lead with calm. It must feel like a memory of the future, not a dream. Once you have that sentence, you pair it with your nightly command. Every night I impress my definite aim into my subconscious, and it obeys. And you repeat both. Out loud. Slowly. With belief. You do not whisper. You do not mumble. You speak it like you're laying bricks. Because you are. Now picture this. You've turned off every screen. The room is dark. Silent. You're alone. No one's judging you. No one's watching. And you speak your sentence. You don't feel like it, but you speak. You're tired, but you speak. You're unsure, but you speak louder. And something strange happens? It begins to feel real. The first few nights, your mind resists. But on night 5, something clicks. On night 10, it starts to feel familiar. On night 15, it begins to echo even after you stop speaking. And by night 30, you feel different. You act different. You walk different. Why? Because you have changed the operating system of your mind. This is how identity is formed. Not by accident. By design. By command. Every man you admire, every leader, every builder, every wealthy icon, they may have used different words, but they followed the same law. They gave their mind instructions every night. They commanded instead of collapsed. They did not go to bed confused. They went to bed on assignment. And now it's your turn. Here's your simple process tonight. Turn everything off. No music. No light. No distractions. Silence is the arena of command. Speak your base sentence aloud. Every night I impress my definite aim into my subconscious, and it obeys. Speak your specific, definite aim aloud. Use present tense. Be bold. Be clear. Be exact. Repeat both until you feel it. Until you can say it without thinking. Until your body feels like it already happened. Let yourself drift into sleep while repeating it internally. Let it be your final thought. Let it walk into your subconscious and take a seat on the throne. Because the mind doesn't stop working while you sleep. It gets to work, building the exact world you've just assigned to it. This is not fantasy. This is law. And now, the only question is, will you whisper the same fears tonight? Or speak the sentence that rewrites your life? Most men think the day builds their life. They grind. They hustle. They chase. And yet they feel stuck. Why? Because they're building with the wrong material, chaotic thought. You see, action is important. But without alignment, action becomes noise. And alignment only comes when the subconscious and conscious agree. How do you make them agree? By mastering the most overlooked hour in your entire life. The final hour before sleep. That's the hour where your real architect awakens. That's the hour where your inner builder starts laying bricks for tomorrow. But most men ignore this moment. They scroll. They stress. They replay arguments, regrets, failures. And then they wonder why their life repeats. Let me make this clear. You don't just sleep in a bed. You sleep inside a blueprint. And that blueprint is drawn by your last thought each night. The subconscious doesn't care what you say you want. It only cares what you rehearse repeatedly. That's why people who say, "I'll never get out of debt," usually don't. That's why those who whisper, "I can't do this," never can. That's why men who go to bed with guilt wake up with more of it. They're rehearsing ruin. But you're about to rehearse power. You've already learned the law. Every night I impress my definite aim into my subconscious, and it obeys. Now we go deeper. Tonight, I want you to treat your mind like a sacred place. A vault. And your words? They're the blueprints, the orders, the laws you feed it. But here's the catch. You can't feed it confusion. You can't feed it chaos. You must feed it specific, positive, unwavering commands. Because the subconscious mind does not analyze. It does not judge. It does not weigh possibilities. It simply accepts what is spoken with repetition and emotion. And it builds. So tonight, I ask you to craft your sentence with surgical clarity. Here's the formula. I, action, result, by a method or value, and I begin now. Examples. I earn $10,000 per month by helping men master their mindset, and I begin now. I speak with certainty, inspire others, and attract wealth through service, and I begin now. I lead with strength, attract aligned people, and multiply my income through clarity, and I begin now. The words you choose become the walls of your future. Build them like you mean it. Now let me show you what's happening behind the curtain. When you repeat this sentence nightly, you bypass the analytical mind. You plant belief directly into the soil of the subconscious. You begin to shift identity, not just thoughts. And identity controls behavior. Not motivation. Not discipline. Identity. Because no man can act against his identity for long. If you see yourself as a builder, you will build. If you see yourself as a leader, you will lead. If you see yourself as a wealthy man, even before the bank reflects it, you will begin to make decisions in alignment with that reality. And the world will respond. This is not magic. This is alignment. Mental. Emotional. Behavioral. But here's what I need you to remember. Repetition is the chisel. Emotion is the hammer. Nighttime is the workshop. You are not repeating to convince the world. You are repeating to convince your own mind. Because once the subconscious is convinced, it changes the way you walk, talk, move, breathe, and earn. Now, let's talk about the enemy of all this. Drifting. The man who drifts before bed loses the war before it begins. Drifting sounds like this. Maybe tomorrow I'll try harder. I'll skip it tonight, I'm tired. I don't feel anything, so it must not be working. No. The man who builds his future does not wait for feeling. He repeats until feeling follows. Because feeling is the result, not the requirement. You may not feel powerful tonight. But if you speak with clarity and repetition, you will feel it soon. Speak like the man you want to become. Until you become him. Because your identity is built word by word, not wish by wish. Let me now give you another anchor sentence. Speak this tonight. Each night I deepen the belief that I am already becoming the man I have chosen to be. Say it again. Then say your definite aim. Repeat your command sentence. Then sleep with one thought. I am no longer drifting. I am now building. Your practice for tonight. Turn off everything. Silence the noise. Sit or lay still. Breathe. Let your energy calm. Say, every night I impress my definite aim into my subconscious, and it obeys. Speak your definite aim with clarity and belief. Say, each night I deepen the belief that I am already becoming the man I have chosen to be. Repeat both for 5 to 10 minutes. Let sleep come while your mind still holds the sentence. This is identity training. This is wealth wiring. This is you, finally commanding the inner world that builds your outer one. Let me tell you something that most people will never grasp. The greatest fortunes in history, the most powerful transformations, the strongest identities, were not built in the daylight. They were forged at night. Why? Because the night is not for rest. It is for command. The average man thinks the day is the main event. That's when he tries. That's when he acts. That's when he grinds. But the top 1%? They understand something else entirely. They know the day is just a mirror, a reflection of what was impressed on the mind the night before. And so, while most people fall asleep in confusion, the 1% fall asleep on purpose. With a sentence. With a vision. With belief. And the difference? Everything. Let's pull back the curtain. Here's what happens in the brain. Right before sleep, the conscious mind quiets, and the subconscious awakens. It becomes more receptive, more vulnerable, more open to instruction. And that means this: whatever you feed it in that moment, whether by accident or by design, becomes part of your identity. Not your to-do list. Not your mood. Not your vague hopes. Only the repeated command, spoken with clarity and conviction, gets installed. This is the hour when you are either installing power or reinforcing poverty. There is no neutral. There is only the program you write or the one you allow to run. So what do the 1% do differently? They own the final hour. They don't scroll. They don't collapse. They don't drift into sleep. They prepare it like a sacred ritual. They sit in silence. They center themselves. They repeat their sentence like a general briefing his army before battle. Let's get specific. The 1% night ritual. Stillness. Turn off all noise. All screens. All voices. Sit or lie down. Centering. Breathe. Let your energy settle. You're not winding down, you're dialing in. Affirmation of the law. Say aloud. Every night I impress my definite aim into my subconscious, and it obeys. Command sentence. Speak your one sentence, clear, definite, and present tense. Examples. I earn $10,000 a week helping others grow, and I begin now. I lead with certainty and build generational wealth, and I begin now. Identity anchor. Say, I am the man who commands his final thought, and with it, my entire life. Silent repetition until sleep. Don't stop saying the sentence internally. Let it walk with you into sleep. You may say, but what if I don't feel it yet? Understand this. You're not repeating it because it's true. You're repeating it until it becomes true. Every belief started as repetition. Doubt started that way. So did fear. So did guilt. You didn't ask for those beliefs, you rehearsed them accidentally. Now you rehearse on purpose. Let's talk about results. Because this isn't theory. When a man repeats a command nightly, his body language shifts. He walks taller. Makes stronger eye contact. His decision-making sharpens. He stops tolerating distractions. He becomes clear. His energy changes. He moves like a man who's already successful, not a man trying to be. And that shift? It changes how others see him. It changes what he attracts. It changes his income. Because the world reflects what you expect, not what you beg for. Let me give you a truth few admit. Most people are more loyal to their limitations than they are to their vision. They'll say the sentence for one night. Maybe two. Then they'll quit. Why? Because it doesn't feel real yet. Because they didn't see results. But that's not how this works. You must choose. Loyalty to the old identity, or loyalty to the new command. You can't serve both. Your subconscious needs to see which one you believe. And belief is proven through repetition, not emotion. Let's go even deeper. The man you're becoming already exists, in potential. He's strong, clear, wealthy in mindset, wealthy in life. But he's trapped behind your current program. The sentence is the key. Repetition is the hammer. Nightly ritual is the forge. You must keep speaking until the wall cracks. Until the old voice gets drowned out. Until your subconscious says, "This is who I am now." So tonight, go beyond routine. Make it sacred. Light a candle. Dim the lights. Put your hand on your heart if you must. Say, "Each night I deepen my command. Each night I become more of the man I was born to be." Then say your sentence. Repeat it until it echoes in your sleep. You're not just doing this for wealth. You're doing it for your legacy. For your family. For the man who refused to settle. The average sleep in confusion. The 1% sleep in command. You choose who you become. Most people have no idea how dangerous their final thoughts are. They think it's harmless to fall asleep thinking about the bills, the arguments, the missed opportunities. They think it's normal to drift into sleep without control. But I'm here to tell you. That drifting is the death of destiny. Because the subconscious does not rest. It does not reason. It only accepts. And it acts upon what it accepts. And every night, before sleep, you are giving it something to act on, whether you mean to or not. So here's the truth. You do not get what you want. You get what you rehearse. And what most men rehearse is fear. Let's look closer. You close your eyes and think, what if I fail? What if this doesn't work? What if I'm not enough? You say it softly. You say it silently. You say it emotionally. And that's all it takes. The subconscious absorbs it. And what does it do? It obeys. It builds a life that mirrors that fear. Because your mind, this silent builder, constructs with whatever materials it's given. If you feed it wood, it builds with wood. If you feed it steel, it builds with steel. If you feed it doubt, it builds limitation. If you feed it command, it builds legacy. And this is why one sentence, a single, deliberate, repeated sentence, can change the entire structure of a man's life. Because it replaces the fog with a frame. It turns drifting into direction. It gives the subconscious a blueprint, and that blueprint becomes behavior. You must understand. You're not speaking to feel good. You're speaking to reprogram. You're not hoping. You're installing. That's why it must be one sentence. Not a paragraph. Not a vision board. Not a vague dream. One command. One directive that becomes the law of your inner world. Let me show you how to craft yours, if you haven't yet. It must include a clear outcome. No fluff. No, I hope or someday. A present tense declaration. You must speak it as if it's already law. A specific area of life. Wealth. Identity. Health. Leadership. Choose your domain. Here's an example. I earn $25,000 per month through powerful, honest work that transforms lives, and I begin now. That is not a wish. That is not a maybe. That is a command. Let's get practical again. Repeat the process. Sit still. Turn off the noise. Feel the stillness around you. Say your sentence. Say it until it becomes a feeling, not just a sound. Let it follow you into sleep. If it feels fake, say it again. If your voice trembles, say it again. If the old thoughts return, say it louder. Because the moment of resistance is the moment of rewiring. Let me share something you'll never forget. You don't rise with power because of what you did today. You rise with power because of what you planted last night. Read that again. The world is not built in action alone. It is built in repetition of identity. If you repeat poverty, you walk like a poor man, even with money. If you repeat power, you walk like a king, even before the riches arrive. This is why some men gain influence before wealth. Because their energy changes before their bank account does. They command their space. They speak differently. They move differently. And that all starts with one sentence, repeated with faith. Now, some of you will still doubt. And that's okay, for now. But I ask you, what did doubt give you? What did fear build for you? What did silence ever plant in your subconscious? It's time for a new plan. A plan of spoken identity. A plan of repetition with precision. This is not superstition. This is mental law. And every wealthy man you admire? He used it, whether he knew it or not. Let me give you this night's instruction. Go somewhere alone. Whisper if you must. Shout if you can. But say it with power. The words I repeat before bed build my wealth, shape my identity, and direct my habits. Then immediately follow with your sentence. One sentence. One belief. One command. And let that be the final thought your mind hears. Let your subconscious build your empire while your body rests. Because I promise you this. The man who masters his nightly sentence will never remain small, will never stay afraid, will never wake up the same again. A man can dream for decades and stay the same. He can read all the books, watch all the motivational videos, listen to the podcasts, and still wake up in the same house, with the same bank balance, with the same fear in his chest. Why? Because he never repeated the right sentence long enough. He consumed information but never installed identity. And until you install a new identity, your life will keep defaulting back to the old one. Let's be clear. You don't get what you read. You don't get what you wish. You get what you repeat. Every night before bed, the door opens. The guard leaves. The mind becomes soft clay. And you are handed the pen to write the next version of your life. But most men? They hand the pen to worry. They hand it to fear. They hand it to memory. They go to sleep replaying the past, and then wake up in it. Day after day. Year after year. So I ask you this. What if you stopped handing the pen to fear? What if you trained yourself to only speak what you command? What if your final words each night weren't complaint or silence, but conviction? That's when everything would change. Because repetition doesn't just form habit. It forms identity. And when identity changes, behavior follows. Not with effort. With ease. Imagine a man who says this sentence every night. I am a builder of wealth. I command clarity, move with boldness, and attract success through focused action. I begin now. He speaks it not once, but every single night. At first, it sounds strange. His old mind fights it. But after a week, his speech changes. After 2 weeks, his posture shifts. After a month, his decisions are sharper. And by the second month, he doesn't even need the sentence anymore, he has become it. Now compare him to another man. This one says nothing before bed. Or worse, he says. I hope things get better. I can't afford that. I'm tired of this. It is what it is. He doesn't even realize what he's doing. He's programming failure into the deepest parts of himself. Not intentionally, but carelessly. And carelessness is all it takes to plant failure. Because the subconscious doesn't care what's true. It only cares what's repeated. Let's return to you. What have you repeated this week? What has your subconscious absorbed from your final moments each night? Was it clarity? Or was it confusion? Was it purpose? Or was it distraction? Because here's the law. You wake up with whatever you planted. No exceptions. Let me remind you. This is not about motivation. This is mental conditioning. This is the same principle used by world-class athletes, military elites, CEOs, and inventors. Before they ever succeeded, they trained their minds to obey. They gave it a sentence. They repeated it until it became instinct. Muhammad Ali said, I am the greatest, before the world ever believed it. Because identity comes before evidence. And repetition is what builds identity. Tonight, you repeat. Even if you're tired. Even if you feel doubt. Even if part of you whispers, this won't work. You say it anyway. Because the act of saying it in the face of doubt is what makes it work. You don't wait to feel powerful. You speak powerfully and become it. Let me give you a sentence again. The words I repeat before bed build my wealth, shape my identity, and direct my habits. Now follow with your personal command. I am earning $10,000 per week through focused, honest work that changes lives. I command this now. Say it slowly. Say it again. Say it until your nervous system starts to believe you. And here's something important. Do not change your sentence. Don't water it down. Don't add 5 more just to sound spiritual or smart. One sentence. One identity. Repetition is strongest when it is specific and consistent. You wouldn't change the combination to your safe every night. So don't change the combination to your mind. Stick with it. Repeat it. Let it take root. And soon, your outer life will start to mirror your inner declaration. This is how men rise. Not by wishing. But by speaking what they command, and doing it until they become the command itself. This is law. This is repetition. This is identity. This is how the 1% think. There comes a point when a man no longer hopes to change. He decides to change. He stops gathering tools and starts building. He stops browsing methods and starts executing one. He becomes a man who doesn't just know what to do. He becomes the one who does it. And for that transformation to begin, he must command his final hour. Because that last hour is not a time to drift, it is the launch pad. Let this truth settle in. The hour before sleep is not for escape. It is for design. What you repeat in that hour becomes the blueprint. And your subconscious, your silent builder, follows that blueprint with precision. It does not ask if you're tired. It does not ask if you believe. It only obeys what's repeated with certainty. Look at any man who rose from poverty, anonymity, or defeat. He didn't wait for luck. He spoke his way out. He took one phrase, one idea, one vision, and planted it deep, night after night, until the world around him was forced to bend. Not because the world suddenly changed, but because he did. Let me remind you again. The subconscious does not care what you deserve. It only acts on what you declare. If you whisper weakness, it will construct more of it. If you declare power, it will obey and expand that power. And the most powerful time to deliver that declaration? When the conscious mind shuts down. When your guard is asleep and your core is exposed. That's when your words go deepest. But this power has a warning. Because what you speak builds. Even if you speak carelessly. So if your last thoughts are, I can't do this. Nothing ever works for me. It's too late. I'm not good enough. Then your subconscious goes to work proving you right. Not because it's cruel, but because it's loyal. It's always building, based on whatever instruction you've given it. That's why this hour is sacred. That's why empires are not born in daylight. They're born in silence. In whispers. In those moments when no one's watching and your voice is the only one that matters. The man who wins the night commands the day. Let's go deeper. Why do so few people succeed? Why do most live on repeat? Because they never train their inner voice. They wake up in chaos, try to fix everything by force, and collapse at night with no direction. Then they wonder why success feels random. It's not random. It's programmed. So tonight, you program. You no longer wait. You no longer drift. You no longer wish. Tonight, you declare. You speak with decision. You don't say, I hope. You say, I now train my mind to expect greatness, and every night I deepen my command. Say it. Say it again. Say it until it becomes bone and breath. This sentence is not decoration. It's direction. It's not magic. It's mental law. And here's the final rule. You become what you say repeatedly, especially when the world is quiet. You must now choose your sentence. It must be clear, definite, powerful, present tense. Not, someday I will be successful. But, I am a builder of wealth. I command influence. I serve with purpose. And I begin now. Not, I hope things get better. But, I create solutions, I deliver value, I earn powerfully. Speak it until it's you. Speak it until your subconscious no longer questions it. Speak it until your body walks in it automatically. Let's repeat the key sentence one last time. The words I repeat before bed build my wealth, shape my identity, and direct my habits. Add your own after it. And tonight, when the world sleeps, you command. When others complain, you declare. When others scroll mindlessly, you write your destiny. Let your bedroom become your sanctuary. Let your silence become strategy. Let your sentence become sacred. Because in a world of noise, doubt, and distraction, the one who wins is the one who speaks power when no one is listening. Repeat it for 30 days. Let your actions follow it. Let your habits respond to it. And one morning, when you least expect it, you will wake up, already inside the life you spoke into existence. Because this is not hope. This is law. And law obeys those who obey themselves.